Do people in Canada have cable, like other people?
We keep this up in the playoffs. I don't care.
And at Chili's. Is it a Chili's?
Achilles.
Finally.
You don't know that?
Fuck you! Get this guy the fuck out of here!
Alright, well, coming in at number 5, I got Anthony Stolarz.
Now! Jets are winning the cup!
Thank you for watching and listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the NordCast. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. It is episode number 88. I am your host here, Nordic97, joined with Carter. Carter, how we doing?
We're doing pretty good. I am currently fighting sickness. That's why we're sounding a little bad, but no, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Guy looks like he is, for the video listeners, he's like completely entrenched in the darkness.
I'm on my Aaron Rodgers shit, my darkness retreat.
The darkness of Adam Lowry being out week to week.
Don't remind me.
So we got some stuff here to talk about today. We're going to start off with a lot of Vancouver talk. A lot of it is going to be based around JT Miller to start. So there was a rumor, or I guess a report from Elliot Friedman, that JT Miller was damn near traded last weekend. Now, we knew that there were some talks with Miller possibly getting traded, but it never really moved anywhere further from that. We just heard rumors of they might be trading one of them, but nothing really concrete. But apparently it really picked up on Saturday night. Like, it really started ramping up and increasing dramatically, and it almost got done. It damn near got done. We heard that Miller was almost not even playing in the lineup on Saturday night's game against the Edmonton Oilers, which, what a game that was. We got some more stuff to bring up when we go down the road from that. But that was that was like the first instance of where we're like, wow, like Miller might actually get traded here. Because I saw the rumors and I'm like, I don't really think so. And maybe it's just the media trying to spark things up and he won't get traded, but he was almost traded. So a Miller deal could happen any day now, and it might even happen before this next episode drops. So, Carter, what was your instant reaction to seeing that JT Miller was damn near almost traded to the New York Rangers, seeing that Chytil and Lindgren were involved in that deal?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think as this first kind of broke like a while ago, pretty much almost started this season, honestly, it feels like so long ago that we've been talking about this whole kind of feud between Miller and Peterson. But I mean, yeah, I've kind of started to expect them to be traded as time has gone on. Things have not gotten better for the Vancouver Canucks. So obviously, these aren't rumors. These might not be speculations, and these are actual things that are kind of having to get done here. But yeah, no, Saturday was a day of potential JT Miller sweepstakes coming to an end, even though they're not really sweepstakes, but you kind of get my point. I think someone said that they were in the boardroom like all day on Saturday, just trying to work out a JT Miller deal here, and just couldn't get it done. I think that, I don't know if it was with New York or it was with Carolina, but one of those two teams made an offer and included a first round pick, and it was going to get done, but didn't, due to the two teams not being able to figure out the protection on that first round pick. So, yeah, so it was really close, literally a first round pick protection away from JT Miller no longer being a Vancouver Canuck. So I think that this just kind of proves that it is ever so much more likely that we will see JT Miller traded from the Vancouver Canucks.
Do you think that the return that the Canucks were going to get, because the rumor was, and I'll get into it in a second here, the rumor was Philip Chytil and Ryan Lindgren were both going the other way along with that first round pick, which again, you couldn't decide the protections on. Do you think that is a fair return for a player like Miller?
I mean, I think it's definitely like a good return for New York for sure. Chytil, I mean, he's 25. I mean, you're still banking on some good potential there from from Hedel. Miller obviously being 31 in year 2 of his 7-year contract. So you'd be getting good value out of Hedel. And then obviously Lindgren, right now, he is paired with Adam Fox as their top defenseman. And as we know with Vancouver, my goodness, do they need fucking help, because it is bad. They need depth on that back end so bad. It is brutal. Quinn Hughes is literally gonna die in the next week if like things don't get better for him. So I mean, Quinn Hughes has been absolutely carrying that team, and they need help on that back end so bad. So getting a defenseman is definitely necessary for them right now.
Now, I like Lindgren. Lindgren is an interesting one to go the other way to Vancouver, because I think he is a player of a sense that he really could be a big benefit to the Canucks blue line. Again, he's a defensive defenseman. He has never scored more than 18 points in a single season. He's actually never even played a full season. The closest he came to that was 78 games in 21-22. So far this year, though, 11 points in 42 games played. He's a -2. He's had a little bit of a rough year with the Rangers, and I think that maybe going to Vancouver would be a good replacement. Philip Hedel, though, I don't know if that necessarily is the greatest replacement in exchange for Miller. Because, again, Miller, like, even last season, he scored 103 points. So far this year, he's been a little bit slower. He's missed some games, but has 32 points in 36 games played. Hedel has just played a combined amount of 48 games the last 2 seasons, including this year. Last year, he had 6 assists. This year, he's only had 18 points in 38 games played. So I feel like the production's really fallen off there from Hedel since that 45-point year in 22-23, just because of the injuries. I don't really think that necessarily is the greatest return for Vancouver, because I think that even though you are trading a all-star player and usually you lose that deal, I feel like you could have probably gotten at least a little bit more than Hedel, Lindgren, and a first. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, 100% I agree with that.
Okay, yeah. So I also wanted to show this clip from the Vancouver media, because we've been talking about it a lot recently, about how some of the things they do and the things they say are just honestly ridiculous. So credit to Chicklets for this. We're going to pull it up here right now. Here is what JT Miller had to say after the game against Edmonton with the questions from Vancouver. I got to turn it on.
Pretty great run for you in the city.
That's a nice try. You gotta be a little more clever.
I'm gonna try to.
Okay.
If this was your last game in Vancouver, or is it meant to you to play here?
I'm not getting into this. I'm planning on being a Canuck today, tomorrow. Whatever happens. I'm focused on the next game.
In regards to the game, pretty great.
Just like, why ask that question? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand. This is just media and journalists trying to get like a answer out of Miller, and Miller caught him at their BS and was like, nice try. You ain't getting that through. Again, it just shows like how ridiculous the Vancouver Canucks media is. And like, we talk about how Toronto's media, and ironically enough, we're in a Leafs jersey, how Toronto's media is super pressure filled and ridiculous. Like, I feel like Vancouver might be worse in my opinion. So to be honest with you, I think that, yeah, the Canucks media is ridiculous. For one last thing, though, involving Miller before we get into the suspensions that happened in Vancouver that Saturday night, what are 3 destinations that you could see Miller winding up at, Carter? Because now it seems like we're actually going to see this happen, but what are 3 destinations you think you could see him go to?
Well, I think the obvious ones are the 2 that have been most rumored. New York, Carolina, are kind of the 2 teams that I think we've seen the most action from. He has said that he wants to stay on Eastern U.S., so that's where he wants to go. So I mean, you're looking at a lot of teams are on that East Coast area. I'm just kind of looking at some teams who could make something work. Rangers obviously being one. Kind of said the 2, but I mean, you know what?
Oh boy.
Ooh. I'm kind of. No, they don't really need. I would actually. No, because Miller can play wing, right?
I think so. Hang on a second.
I don't know how you would get this to work, but maybe the New Jersey Devils can find something here.
Ooh, that's what I saw.
So, because think about it, man, they got some good prospects. Like, let's not forget, they have Anton Silyev on that back end, who was picked 10th overall last year, who realistically, if they think that this is their time, they could move him, as well as, obviously figuring out ways to get some money to work. But like, man, putting him with Jack Hughes would not be a bad kind of play for them.
Not only that, I feel like they have the pieces to make that deal. It's just a matter of, are you willing to give up them? The Devils, I think this year, actually, do they have a first round pick? No, they don't. They gave that to Calgary in the Markstrom deal. So they could use their pick for next year, but
they do have 3 seconds.
They do have 3 seconds, yes. They have their own. They have the one from the Jets and the one from the Oilers as well. So they do have some pieces they can move on from there. I feel like you're going to have to give up a center to go down the other way. I'm thinking maybe you could give up Eric Holla because you're not giving up Hughes. You're not giving up Heischer. So I feel like the next one up will probably be Holla or I guess Dawson Mercer if you could figure out a way to make that work. But one of the people that I'm really curious about, Carter, is Simon Nemec. Did you see the Nemec quote that transpired this past week when he had it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Nemec is in the minors as well. He wants some playing time. Yeah, I thought about Nemec and I was looking at their prospects. I'm like, wait, what happened to Nemec? And I forgot he's in the American League. But yeah, Simon Nemec as well. He could be a piece that gets moved as well. They got some prospects that they can move, especially for Vancouver, and they have some good back end prospects who have a lot of potential. So, I mean, we kind of talked about getting Quinn Hughes some help, and New Jersey's the team that would be able to do that.
I feel like if you're trying to win now, I don't really think that keeping around a player like Nemec or even Silyev is worth it. Yes, I get that you don't want to give up on a second overall pick that quickly. But I just think that, above all, I really do think this might be one of the Devils' best years to win it, even though they do have a really good team down the road. I think you should go all in. And I think a player like Miller is not only a short-term rental solution, but he also has term to him too. So maybe the Devils could really benefit from that. And again, you could move Jack Hughes to the wing. You could put Miller in that top 6 role. And I think that would be perfect. It's just a matter of working things out. Realistically, I could see the Devils putting in their 2026 first round pick, a Eric Holla type-esque player, and then maybe Nemec or Silyev.
That might be a lot.
What's that?
That could be too much, realistically. I mean, so here's I think if you're trading Nemec, I don't think a first round pick is involved. I think he's a number 2 overall draft pick for a reason. That's basically a first round pick, and you've seen what he's about, right? You've seen him in the American League. You've seen him kind of play preseason and all that. You know what Simon Nemec is about. And
you think they would move their second though?
They got 3 seconds this year, man. I think that they could realistically move Nemec a second or 2 and then figure out ways to get this money to work. And I think that they'd have some. I don't think that you move Nemec in a first. Don't get me wrong, JT Miller, great player. I think that's overvaluing him a little bit, if that makes any sense. Because I think you're basically giving up 2 first round picks in Nemec and that. And I don't think JT Miller's 2 first round picks good, but I think that Nemec second or 2, because you got the seconds to make it work, and then you figure the money out.
Yeah, the other big thing is you got to figure out the money. The Devils only have less than $2 million in cap space.
They got about $1 million, so
yeah, they would really have to make those logistics work because Miller's getting paid what, $7 million? I
think it's 8.
Yeah, he's getting paid $8 million for the next 6 years. So if you were to make that deal work, you would probably have to give up somebody with more money. I would say maybe like an Andre Palat type player.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Andre Palat, he's got $6 million on his contract. I think you'd have to do him, maybe something else, and then you do those draft picks and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and since coming to New Jersey, he just hasn't been the same. He only had like 31 points in 71 games last year. This year, he has 19 points in 48 games played with 10 goals, compared to the last 2 years with Tampa, where he had 49 points and 46 points. Again, you are playing with Kucherov and Stamkos and one of the better offensively powered teams in the league. But I think maybe a change of scenery could benefit there with Palat. I don't know. Maybe you could see that happen with New Jersey there. Is there any other team that you think could be in on Miller? Because I have two if you don't have any.
I think the Islanders are another one that maybe they take a stab at him. A fun one that is basically impossible because there's no money would be Washington. That would be a fun one, but they are $12 million over the cap, so that is definitely not happening. Maybe Boston tries something, but again, their cap space is not good either.
Well, with Boston, what do you really give up? Like, if we're being
You're
honest?
giving up your first round pick again, and you're getting over your future.
Probably. And you would also have to free up a little bit of money. So maybe it'd be like a first, like we've seen Trent Frederick possibly on the market like that. I think you could make it work, but realistically, do you have the value going back the other way for Vancouver outside of that first round pick where we're like, yeah, we win this trade? Like, again, Boston might not even make the playoffs this year. Like, I don't think they're in a playoff spot right now. So it's not particularly smart to give up your first round pick for this year when it might be a lottery pick even. So yeah, that's kind of the way I see it with Boston. Washington, I didn't even think about them just because I don't think it's possible.
Definitely not.
You would have to move like a guy like Andrew Mangiapane. You'd have to give up one of your good prospects. They could do that, but again, I don't really know. You also got to keep in mind too, like we've had the problems with Miller before with attitude issues and things like that. So there might be some teams who are like, yeah, no, I don't really want to go down that route anyways. And then for the Islanders, it'd be such a Lou Lamoriello thing for them to go out and get Miller. But again, I just don't think you can really make the money work either. Like the Islanders are like right up there against the cap. You can't really make the money work unless if you give up a bad contract going the other way to Vancouver, and the Canucks just aren't going to do that, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that with JT Miller, but that was something that really made a lot of headlines this past weekend and has been talked about a ton over the last couple of days. And I actually do think like we are going to see a result of this maybe even as soon as next week. So we'll have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, let's move on to another thing that was going on in Vancouver on Saturday night. There was 2 suspensions that were dished out. We'll go over the Tsyplakov one later on in this video, but I want to go over the other 2 right now. So Tyler Myers was suspended for 3 games due to cross-checking on Evan Bouchard. We'll start off with that one. Carter, did you see the clip of that suspension?
Yes.
Do you think that's a suspension? Do you think that's the right call?
Yes.
Yes. Honestly, there is no debate, in my opinion. Here, I'm going to pull up a picture. Literally, it's so funny because literally all it is the play is over after like the end or in the middle of the second period. Bouchard goes and skates. I'm just using my editor app. Bouchard goes and skates up to Myers, and Myers just gives him a direct cross check in the face. There is absolutely like no intention there whatsoever. There is no like literally anything to back it up whatsoever. It was literally one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that one for sure. The other one that really got a lot of people up in arms was the Connor McDavid one when he got suspended for 3 games as well for this cross-check on Connor Garland. And it caused a lot of controversy because before the play. It's the dying seconds of the third period. And McDavid trips over Garland, and Garland holds him down not once, not twice, or not once, but twice. Sorry. And then eventually McDavid's like, all right, screw you at the very end of the play, and ends up just directly cross-checking him in the face. Carter, did you see that play?
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Really? Why?
Because it doesn't matter. It's a cross check to the head.
Yeah, that's
because here's the thing. We can go over everything that happened before it as many times as we want. It doesn't matter. It's the end result of what happens, and he cross checked him in the face. In my opinion, I don't like it. Okay? They're battling and shit happens, right? It's not the way the NHL looks at it. All right. So it sucks because that's your most marketable star, and he did something he probably shouldn't have, right? But hey, you live and you learn.
Surprised that player safety actually suspended him, to be honest with you.
I'm not.
We're gonna go through the photos here of the play. You're not really? Well, it's McDavid. That's why I'm surprised.
He's been suspended before for dumb plays.
He has? I didn't know that.
I think so.
But let's go through the what happened. So basically the play starts, McDavid falls over on Garland. He tries to get up, but you can clearly tell that Garland holds him down with his skates. And then McDavid eventually does get up, actually throws a glove punch at Garland. And then he gets up again, and Garland ends up just spinning him around completely and knocking him down to the ground again. He held him down there for a solid 5 seconds. That is holding. That is holding for sure. I'm not saying that, I don't blame Garland for that. Again, you're in a net front battle. You're trying to hold down one of the better players in the league. I give props to Garland there where it's due. Originally, I actually had an approach of where, I don't know why McDavid and Myers got suspended the same amount of games. But then I realized what Carter just said, it's still a cross-check to the head, no matter the context before it. What I do think should have happened here, though, I don't necessarily think Garland should have been suspended. Here's what happened afterwards. McDavid just, cross-checks him in the head. There's really no debate there whatsoever. What I do think should have happened, though, is Garland, in all likelihood, should have gotten a penalty. That's what should have happened on that play. Not that, again, he should have been suspended or anything like that, but I do believe that Garland should have gotten a penalty for that. And I think if he did, you could have avoided that cross-check altogether, and McDavid would still be playing. But again, the Vancouver Canucks and the Oilers, I think, play again on Thursday, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to make it a very interesting matchup. Again, both those players, Myers and McDavid, will not be back for that game. But again, I think that'll be a really exciting matchup there for sure, because those two teams have made it clear over the last playoff series and over this past week that they hate each other. And Carter, would you like to see an Oilers versus Canucks playoff series again? Because, God, I know I want to.
I would. That'd be a lot of fun again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's move on to the other one that happened in New York as well. Last Thursday, Maxim Tsyplakov was suspended for 3 games due to a illegal check to the head on Ryan Poehling. And if that one was not controversial enough, I feel like this one was a lot more controversial. Carter, did you see the play?
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yes, I did see it.
I can send it to you again, but honestly, it's actually I don't know. I looked at it a good couple of times. Carter, you can look at it again as well. Do you think that there is head contact on the play? Because there were some people in my comment section who heavily disagreed on that factor. So what do you think looking at that play?
I think realistically, I think that it's almost like the same thing as that Ryan Reeves hit, where it looks like he doesn't make contact, but then it kind of slows down. And how he gets hit, right? It starts with the shoulder, but I think the main problem is after you can see his elbow kind of flare out like this.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of flares out a bit. So that could be where that head got contact made. I'm not 100% sure. I am not Ryan Paling, so I have no idea where he got hit. But I mean, I think the elbow would be the biggest reason as to why they looked at it that way.
Well, let's look through the play again. I have the photos pulled up on my very shitty editing app. So you can see Paling initially, and I don't know if this is the best angle or not because you really can't tell. You got to slow down the play. You can see him coming in to take a shot. Tsyplakov is right there. You move forward on the play. Paling takes the shot. You can see Tsyplakov gearing up to make the hit, and then Tsyplakov ends up making contact on Paling. And yeah, I think that should say it. Like, there is head contact. Like, I know there are people who think that it's a shoulder hit. There is head contact. Again, it may not be an initial head contact, but I think it is still head contact for sure. Now, was it intentional? I don't necessarily think so. I don't think looking at that play it was intentional. Again, you're going to have calls like that all the time, but at the same time, I do think that when you see a hit like that, when you see a play like that, you know what's going to transpire of it. You know that that player is trying to make contact on the head, and maybe people aren't going to like that answer from me because, again, we both are Flyers fans seeing that play, but I think I would say the same thing if Paling was making that hit on Tsyplakov, to be honest with you. So maybe it shouldn't have been 3 games. Maybe it shouldn't have been that much because, again, it's not a repeat offender, not like a guy who makes these plays all the time. Again, he is new to the NHL, so that obviously is a factor there. But I don't really think that it could have been 3 games. I think he could have gotten away with 1 or 2. But yeah, regardless, Tsyplakov has been suspended for 3 games due to that illegal check to the head. And that's it for suspensions around the NHL. Okay, we got some more news here to talk about. John Klingberg this past week signed a 1-year contract with the Edmonton Oilers. The deal is worth $1 million. You have up to $350,000 in potential performance bonuses. Carter, do you think that this signing is good for the Oilers? This is somebody who is coming off of a hip surgery, has not played yet this season. Do you think it's a good move for them?
Who was it again? Sorry.
John Klingberg.
Oh, Klingberg. Right. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot that he was like still available. No idea why that just didn't connect to me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's not. They didn't sign him for too much, so I mean, you're not really looking at a lot of risk. I think you're looking at potential here, and they could kind of use some help on that back end. Because realistically, you look at it, Evan Bouchard's not a defensive defenseman. John Klingberg, I know, is not a defensive defenseman by any means, but I think he's a better defensive defenseman. That's a lot of defensive and just so much defense, as I just said there. But I think he's better than Bouchard at that, which I think would definitely help on that right side, because they need someone who's got a little bit more. I don't know what the word is here, but they got Troy Stetcher, who's on that back end there. He's been with them for a little bit, but I mean, I don't know. Time will tell on this signing, I think, but I think that they need help on that right side, and they got a name.
I think he's a good pickup. Again, like, you really can't judge how he was with the Maple Leafs last year just because his hip was hurt during that stretch. And again, he only played 14 games. The year before that, he played with the Anaheim Ducks and the Minnesota Wild. Remember how he held out for so long and ended up signing with Anaheim? He only had 33 points in, I think that's 77 games last year with Anaheim and Minnesota combined, and just was not a guy who worked out there. But previously, in years prior with Dallas, and this was a while ago, keep that in mind. Again, Klingberg now is 32, but a few years ago in Dallas in 2017-18 and 2018-19, he had some really good seasons, scored 67 points in 82 games played, and that had 45 points in 64 games played in the 2018-19 season. So this is a guy who has previous offensive talent. But again, I think you're bringing him on here in Edmonton to be a 7th defender or a 6th defender in my eyes. But I think it really is a low-risk, high-reward type deal there from a guy like John Klingberg. So I really do like that opportunity that he may be getting with Edmonton. And again, if it doesn't work out, then you have a very good chance at just letting him go. It's not really that big of a deal. If it doesn't work out, then you can just let him leave. So again, I don't hate that whatsoever. Walker Duhair was placed on waivers by the San Jose Sharks, or by the Calgary Flames, was claimed by the San Jose Sharks. There was a trade also today. Pavel Regenda was traded to the San Jose Sharks in exchange for Justin Bailey. I remember when Justin Bailey was really going to become something, and has not become that. So, I also want to say, Carter, one of our favorite things that we like to talk about is goalie goals. And Alex Nedeljkovic, one of our trending players, I'm going to imagine, he scored a goalie goal this past week against the Buffalo Sabres. He is the first goalie to get a goal and an assist in an NHL game, which is actually kind of crazy. The first goalie to ever have 2 points. Carter, I got a quiz for you. Can you guess who is the top 5 goalies with the most amount of points?
Oh my God. This is going to go bad. I just know it.
This is going to go bad.
I just got to think of goalies who have played the puck a lot.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's his second multi-point, but I know it's not him.
No, he's not in that top 5 at all. It's actually going to surprise you. There are goalies in here with 48 points.
Jeez. Okay, I'm going to go Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh is number 4 on that list.
Okay, there we go. Okay, let's go. Let's go with Ron Hextall, maybe.
Hextall's not on that, actually.
Okay.
He's number 8.
Okay.
So you got Patrick Waugh.
That'll be the only goalie I get.
I remember the one time you tried doing what was the one stat we did where it was you couldn't think of Lundqvist, and we were there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, that one was bad.
All right.
This one's also bad.
Do you want a hint?
I'm so bad with quizzes on goalie topics. It's bad.
Yeah, I actually kind of picked that up.
Carey Price, is he one?
Price is not on that list. I don't even think he's really.
I'm just trying to think of goalies who play the puck a lot.
Think back to the 80s and the 90s. Who were some of the best goalies to play back then?
Okay, let's go Martin Brodeur. Is he on there?
He is on there. He's number 2.
There's Brodeur. Okay. 80s and 90s.
One of them.
Hasek?
The other 2 might be a little bit difficult.
Hasek?
Hasek is not on that list, no.
Whoa, okay. Fuck.
No, he's not. He's number. Yeah, he's not even in the top 40.
Damn.
I don't think. Unless if I'm missing him, I don't think he is. No, he's not. Okay. Do you want a hint?
Sure.
Think back to the dynasties back in the 80s. Who won all those cups?
Okay, well, isn't that the Islanders?
Aren't
they the 80s dynasty?
No, no. There was 2. There was one other dynasty. Think about it. Think about the greatest player in NHL history. What team was he on?
Well, I mean, Dale Howardchuk, he was really good.
He's not a goalie.
No, I know, but you said the greatest team in NHL history.
You think back to the OG Jets? Jesus God.
Okay, well, Gretzky, right?
Yes.
I don't know who their goalie was.
Grant Fuhr.
Oh, yeah, Fuhr. No, I always forget about Fuhr. That's on me.
All right, the other 2, I'll give you a hint with this one. This goalie played for the Penguins when they won their cups in 91 and 92. He is number 1 on this list, believe it or not.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
No. Fleury has not been around that long. Fleury is the active goalie with the most amount of points, though, which is kind of cool.
He feels like he's been around for so long.
He does, but not that long. He has played 1,000 games. Never mind.
Fuck. I'm so bad with knowing goalies.
I'll give you another couple seconds. Here.
No. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
I saw your screen go white, buddy. Don't even try that.
What are you talking about? I'm not even on anything.
I saw your screen go white. This little shit.
What are you talking about? Mike Vernon, obviously, he's number 5, I think.
Oh yeah. No. Yes, Vernon is number 5. Nice try. And Tom Barrasso is number 1. You
Tom
asshole.
Barrasso, dude, I had that.
Look at this dude cheating. Mike
What
Vernon.
do you mean?
Number 5.
Audio listeners, I am not cheating.
You do not know who Mike Vernon is. No, you do not.
Okay, and you don't know who Adam Party is.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't. But is he relevant to a hockey podcast?
I don't know. Ask any Jets fan. They'll tell you about Adam Party.
All right.
They'll also tell you about Paul Postma. Pretty sure also Adam Party. Great clip. Pretty sure this was Party. It might have been Postma. I can't remember. One of my favorite Jets watching memories. I was watching Jets versus Blackhawks with my dad. I'm pretty sure Party gets I think it was Postma. Postma gets bodied into the glass. It pops off. And then some fucking drunk guy grabs off Paul Postma's helmet and puts it on his head. It's my favorite clip of all time. And it is so, I will send it to you after. It is my favorite hockey clip I've ever seen.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll take a look at that. Okay. Moving on to trending players, Carter. I have one, and then you can go over yours if you have any. Alex Ovechkin became the player to score on the most different amount of goalies. He scored on 179 goalies in his NHL career. Carter, I got another goalie quiz for you. Do you want to try this?
Fuck. Sure.
This one should be easier, though. Can you get the top 3 goalies that Ovechkin has scored the most amount of goals on?
Okay, let's go Fleury.
Fleury's number 1, 28.
Yep. Fleury, I think, is easy.
You got to think people in the Metro. The other one you should get, the other might be a little bit hard.
Let's go Steve Mason.
Mason is on this list, but he only has 8.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I just thought because he played Columbus and then went to Philly.
Oh,
so he was
I didn't realize that. There's a tie between number 3. So you should get 2 of these goalies. The other one might be a little bit hard.
I don't like knowing that I should be able to get these when I can't.
So think Metro for
yeah,
this.
I'm thinking Metro, okay?
Okay.
Doesn't help me.
Okay.
Who's in the Metro? Martin Brodeur.
No, but he has scored 7 goals on him.
I quit. I don't like goalie quizzes.
Are you serious? You were so bad. Okay.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Number 2, Henrik Lundqvist, ironically enough, with 24.
Oh, great.
And then, Carter, disrespect to Lundqvist is crazy. And then number 3, it's a tie between Kari Lehtinen and Carey Price with 22 apiece.
It was Adam Party. Sorry.
All right. Okay, Carter, do you have any trending players you want to go over?
I do, actually. I do. I have a lot of my trending players right now are actually prospects who have just been lighting it the fuck up. My first one, Andrew Crystal. In his last 5 games, he has 16 points, 5 goals. Oh my goodness. He has looked absolutely unreal. He's been so good for Spokane since going there. And he is I can't remember who he's playing with right now, but he's playing for, he's playing with someone else on Spokane. There's someone else who's on Spokane who's really fucking good right now too. But Andrew Crystal is looking like an absolute stud. Denver Barkey, he's got 14 points through his last 5 games, 7 goals too, the captain for London. He is looking absolutely unbelievable.
Berkeley Catton?
Berkeley Catton's another one. He's looked absolutely unbelievable. Michael Misa as well. He's almost in the lead for OHL points. At least he wasn't 5 days ago when this post came out. Who else? Also, shout out to Isaac Howard, who's leading the NCAA in points right now.
The ice.
Good on him. Good on him. Iceman, last pick of 2022 draft? 2023?
First round, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the later picks, so good on him. He's looked really good. As far as NHL, I'd like to give a shout out to Kyle Connor, who got a natural hat trick in the first period. I can't remember who it was against.
Vancouver.
Yeah, against Vancouver, that dumpster fire. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was a great game.
But yeah, that's all the shout outs that I got.
I think that's it for me too. I'm just trying to look here. Do have a stat. You were talking about prospects. Gavin McKenna has 44 points on a 20-game point streak. So
Damn.
he has been actually insane, especially since the World Juniors, which again did not go particularly well for Canada. He has done a lot better since then. Also, want to give a shout out to Igor Shesterkin too. Over these last 6 games, Shesterkin has been rolling with a 5-0-1 record. Has 9 goals against in the last 6 games, a .943, and 2 shutouts. I don't know, Carter. The Rangers might be back. The Rangers actually might be back.
He's looked really good.
We will have to see, though. All right, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before we get into our big mock draft of this episode. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins fire sale that is going on. So, per Anthony D'Amico, I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. Again, we reported this on the Northern Block Pod. Again, I'm not sure if I said it 100% right, but he said that a source close to the Penguins have informed the RG Media that Kyle Dubas is looking for a fire sale. Big name veterans, not simply just pending free agents or up on the trade block, and the Penguins are also willing to retain to move out Erik Karlsson. So, very interesting news here out of Pittsburgh. Again, when you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, as of right now, they currently stand at a record of 20, 21, and 8 for 48 points. They are only just, I think that's 4 points out of a playoff spot. However, it seems like, though, the Penguins have had enough of just being meh and are actually going to try and make some real moves here in a fire sale. So let's start off with Erik Karlsson. Carter, can you see the Penguins realistically trading Erik Karlsson to another contending team?
Yeah, I think that it's something that they should definitely consider. I mean, he's nearing the last 3 years of his deal, and you guys aren't contending anytime soon. You have no need to keep him. It's his time to go.
Really? Okay. Honestly, if this is gonna happen, I think that you're gonna need to retain at least, I would say, maybe 50%. Because Karlsson, no matter what he tells you, has had a pretty bad year with the Penguins. Ironically enough, he just liked my Instagram post. Gonna mention that. Carter saw me losing my mind before we started recording. But Karlsson, since that 101 point year with the Sharks, has had 56 points in 82 games played with the Penguins. Took a little bit of a step back, as we knew he was going to. And then so far this year, 32 points in 49 games played. Again, if you can find a real suitor to move the other way for Karlsson, you could make the money work. But again, I just don't think that the Penguins are going to be able to get it done without retaining a massive amount of money. So we'll have to see there what comes of that. But are there any other guys on this team that you think could be traded, Card, before I go into my cup of tea on guys I think could get moved?
I don't know. I don't know what other... There's so many guys that could get moved.
Well, I'll get the ball rolling here. I think that a few guys that could get dealt, Anthony Beauvillier could be a player who gets traded on a $1.25 million deal. This season with Pittsburgh has 15 points in 48 games played. You could find a suitor for that for maybe a third-round pick. A guy like Kevin Hayes, who, again, is getting paid a little bit more, but has 12 points in 32 games played this year with Pittsburgh. He could become a decent depth player, to be honest with you. Michael Bunting could be another guy who might get traded as well. 26 points in 47 games played with Pittsburgh as well. I could see him possibly getting traded yet again. But we'll have to see, though. Again, I think there are definitely multiple players who could get traded the other way. Like Marcus Pettersson, you could get a legitimate first-round pick for that guy. He's in the last year of a $4 million contract. He's a very good defenseman, has 17 points in 43 games played this season. This year's been a little bit rougher for him, but he's been playing a consistent 22 points a night with the Penguins, and I think as a player that you could also move on from there as well. Maybe even somebody like Evgeny Malkin. Like, it could happen. They could try and move on from him. 34 points in 45 games played this year. He's played 18 minutes and 22 seconds of ice time on average. He's a minus 17. So, again, he has been not great defensively for the Penguins this year. And I think that maybe if you really are considering a fire sale, then I really think you should go for it. But again, a lot of the things that Pittsburgh has done has really blown up in their face. Like Kyle Dubas has not made a lot of great signings. The Carlson trade doesn't look that good. The Jari signing doesn't look that good. Even the guys like they brought in like Kevin Hayes, the Jake Gensel deal looks bad. The Bavillier, Lizotte, like all of them just don't look that great for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they really need to get some more draft assets and get some more first-round picks to really build up that prospect pool and build up that youth. Because as of right now, it looks like it's Rutger McGroarty. And that's about it. And I don't think McGroarty. Shall we do our 2025 draft?
Let's get underway.
So it is time for our 2025 NHL mock draft. Number one, this is post World Juniors. We wanted to wait a little bit before we did this one. Couple things off rip to keep in mind. We are basing this off of best player available. So I want you guys to keep that in mind here. Again, the San Jose Sharks are picking first overall as an example. They may not go with, for example, like James Higgins. They may go with someone like Matthew Schaefer. But in our opinion, we may not think Schaefer is the best player in this draft. So that's the way we're going to go with it. And let's just hop straight into it. Carter, you have the first overall pick. The order of the lottery is just the current standings and the current tankathon order. But Carter, who are you going with here for the first overall pick and the best player of this draft?
So sadly, it is best player of the draft. Otherwise, I think the Sharks would go Matthew Schaefer here. But it is not. It is best available, and I think James Higgins is the best player in this draft class, at least right now. I think once Schaefer comes back from injury, we could start seeing more arguments of him being number one. I know Bob McKenzie has him as the unanimous number one. I still think that what James Higgins is doing in college hockey is still just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think with what Higgins has done in the World Juniors and what he has also been doing in college, I think this kid has a lot of real talent. Again, the first overall pick really does seem very open this year. Like last year, we knew it was going to be Celebrini, and then it was kind of like chaos after that, to be honest with you. This year, it feels like it's a lot more open. There's a lot of good players in the draft for sure. Second overall for me, again, this is best player available, which is why I'm going to go Matthew Schaefer here. Schaefer, again, even though he is injured, he's going to be out for a lot of this year. It may hurt his stock value when you look in terms of how, he's going to miss until at least up to the end of the he's in the OHL season. He's for the Erie Otters, I think. Again, for Schaefer, his stock may go down a little bit, but I think at least as of right now, he is the legitimate second overall pick for me at the very least. Third overall should not be very hard, though, Carter. Who do you have there?
Number 3, I have Michael Misa.
Wow, okay. You want to go into him a little bit? He's a
one. I think that Michael Misa, I think we've seen him as an exceptional status player. He's not exactly what we expected him to be as an exceptional status player. I think when you are exceptional status, you're expected to be a top player instantly. And he was very good. And I think that he was supposed to be the top pick in this draft. He's not number one, but I think he is definitely a top 3 player. Just the way he skates, his shot and everything like that, his playmaking ability. I wish we would have got to have seen him on Team Canada, but obviously I've ranted enough about that to even consider talking about it right now, so I'm not going to. But I still think that Michael Misa is the third best player in this class.
He's in Saginaw, right?
Yes.
Okay.
unless he got traded, but I'm pretty sure he is still in Saginaw.
He's a winger too, right? Or can he play center as well?
I have him as center left wing. He can play both.
I cannot believe, and again, I said this in my own mock draft, I cannot believe that he didn't make that Canada team. Again, I know Carter doesn't want to go into it, but I still
We're not going to.
He is playing unreal in the Ontario Hockey League right now. He just looks incredible. Nothing short of incredible. He is proving all of those doubters wrong. And I also want to say he was born on the same day as me, so he always has a special place in my heart, and that means he is going to the Utah Hockey Club. Anyways, I'm messing around with that. Nashville Predators at 4th overall. I think they go with Porter Martone here. I think Martone, the top 4 really can be changed in any way. Martone, I think, is on Oshawa, right?
No, he's on Brampton Steelheads.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody else is on Oshawa. But yeah, Porter Martone has looked insane this year. I'm surprised that he actually sat out a little bit of the World Juniors. Again, just Canada's poorly put together roster. I feel like shouldn't really lie on the players. Shouldn't lie on some of these players and how they played necessarily, because I think they still are really good players. But the stock there from Martone may be hurt a little bit from the World Juniors, but I think he's a center who has the elite creativity. He's putting up really good numbers in the OHL again, and a lot of guys from the CHL here in this draft who I think have looked incredible down the stretch. And I think Martone goes 4th overall. That's a really good top 4. Top 4 is really good. Those are 4 impact players going to those teams. So who do you have at number 5, Carter?
Number 5, my 5th favorite player in this class. I watched him a lot kind of in World Juniors, and he just completely blew my mind, and I think that he will end up better than his brother. Victor Eklund is my 5th best player in this draft class.
Eklund is a winger?
Swedish. Yeah, left winger from Sweden.
So Eklund, I'm a big fan of Eklund. I think Eklund really can do a lot of damage in the NHL. He's somebody who came to the Swedish leagues. I think he's on Djurgårdens, I'm pretty sure, in Sweden. He has been awesome for them. He has looked like an immediate impact player in the pro leagues, and he has an advantage that a lot of these other players don't have. He's playing against pros. So I think it's a very good chance that we could see him go pretty high in this draft and for that position. So I really do like Eklund there as a big impact player for Anaheim. And again, that's a loaded forward core if he really does go to the Ducks. Again, this is not based off a team preference, but that is a loaded forward core, 100%. 6th overall, this is where the draft kind of goes a little bit math for me. I have Roger McQueen. I think he's a winger. He is playing with, he is playing in, I'm trying to think this.
Brandon.
Brampton as well?
No, Brandon. Wheat Kings.
Yeah, so he plays for the Brandon Wheat Kings in the WHL. He's actually been hurt a lot of this year, but in the stretch that he's played, he actually has put up an incredible number. And when he does come back from injury, I think the stock is really going to rise on him dramatically. So I am in love with what McQueen has been able to do. And he just has a really cool name. McQueen, come on, that's such a cool name. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do. Possibly in Seattle if he does go there, but he's going to be a really solid player as well. And now we get to the point where the draft really does kind of fall off a little bit for me. You have the good, really top 6 of players. After this, it gets a little bit, it's still good players, but not like franchise impact players. Again, you could argue that it ends after the top 4, but all right, who do you have at 7th overall, Carter?
I'm gonna go back to the Swedish league here. Give me Anton Frundell.
I like
another
that.
Swedish boy. What the? Yeah, he's a center. Again, another player that really impressed me, kind of around World Juniors time. Yeah, I don't have much to say. He looked absolutely unbelievable.
Hasn't really had much of an impact under in the Swedish leagues. Again, that is an effect because sometimes players do go into the Swedish league and they don't be as good as they are right away. But Frondell still really has the potential to be a legitimate NHL regular. And I think he's somebody who could really be a good second, possibly first line center for a team that is drafting him for sure. 8th overall, I actually have Ivan Ryabkin. I'm pretty sure he's a winger. He is in the United States Hockey League right now. I'm not 100% where he is in the United States Hockey League. I don't know if you want to look that up there, Carter. But he has had a little bit of a weird year in the USHL where he actually started off in Moskva in the KHL and decided I'm going to transition over to the USHL midway through the year. And so far in the USHL, he's looked really good. It looks like he has a real impact. He could be somebody who's an absolute steal at wherever he goes and could be a massive impact player for whoever's getting him. Who does he play for, Carter?
You want me to read off his stats? He
What are
plays
his
for
stats?
Muskegon, the Lumberjacks.
Ian, yeah.
He's played 4 games, 3 goals, no assists, -2, and the real kicker, the fun one, Nordic, 19 penalty minutes in 4 games.
Oh boy, so he's like a reincarnation of Rempe, possibly.
He's a Russian.
Yeah, he is a Russian. I still think he's gonna have a big he's still gonna be an NHL player. I think he's also injured as of right now, I believe, but maybe a little bit of a stretch there at 8th overall, but I still think he's gonna be a top 10 guy. And then Carter, with your final pick, the Detroit Red Wings, who are you going with?
The Detroit Red Wings are going to take another Canadian, a lot of Canadians, in my at least top 10. I got them going Caleb Desnoyers. Desnoyers, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. I think it's Desnoyers. But yeah, I've been really impressed with him. I've been really impressed with his game. He's looked really good. I'm pretty sure he's also like, I want to make sure before I say this, but I'm pretty sure he's like 6'5" or something ridiculous.
I think he is the one who's like very tall. Brother of Elliot Desnoyers, who is a prospect right now for the Philadelphia Flyers. Desnoyers definitely looks like the better Desnoyers in the family for sure. He is gonna go top 10 at least, and I think he's somebody that really is gonna make a huge impact. As I think he's a center, right, Carter? I put him down as a center, so he better.
I'm pretty sure, yes.
So he is somebody who could fit in there as a, at the best potential, a first line center or just a second line guy. But he's somebody who I think is definitely going to go top 10 in this draft for sure. And then my final pick, Carter, do you have your stat before I go into it?
Oh, he's not 6'5". It's Roger McQueen, who is 6'5".
Oh, okay.
Desnoyers was the one that he's the two-way center.
All right.
I had the two mixed up.
My final pick, well, yeah, it's good to have a two-way center for sure. My final pick in this draft, I am going with defenseman Jackson Smith. I'm not 100% sure what team he's on, Carter. What team is he on? I can't remember. Is it the Hitmen?
No.
That might be Yakimchuk. Never mind.
Tri-City.
Tri-City. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was one of those areas. Smith has been a real riser, especially as of late. For the draft this year, he is a defenseman who plays really good defensively. Is a guy who could be a really good fit on teams that need defense. Ironically enough, Utah needs defense, so that would work out pretty well. But again, it is best player available. Again, he has been a real riser in this draft, so I see him as being somebody who has a lot of potential and a lot of good future there in the NHL for sure. Only the second defenseman on this list, actually. So, again, if you're looking for a defenseman in this draft, it's not particularly the strongest one. There's only really centers in this draft, if we're being honest. Carter, even though we just did a top 10, are there any players that are outside of the top 10 that you think deserve an honorable mention? Logan Hensler is one that comes to mind for me.
What'd you say?
Logan Hensler was one that came to mind for me, but he hasn't had the great seasons.
Malcolm Spence is one for me. I really liked him.
Yeah, him as well. I agree
there
with
was
that.
another guy that I had listed.
Yeah, I had another dude too. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a decent draft. I don't know if it's as good as last year's, because you look at last year's, like this was the final results of last year's, or this is our final mock draft last year. A lot of good players in this. A lot of good players all the way up until I would say around here. It feels like for this draft, it's still a really good pool, but the top 4 is where it's elite. Like those are the really good top 4 players. And I think that if you're in the top 4, you're in a really good spot for sure.
Mm-hmm. I would like to say, I think that I'm going to put this out there now. This is no bias, no nothing. I think Carter Bear will be a top 5 player from this draft class next year.
Really? Carter Bear?
I think he's a name that we're going to look out for. I got a good feeling about him. I've watched a lot of his highlights. He looks really good on Everett. I don't know if that's because of I'm already blanking on his name. Landon DuPont. I don't know if it's because of him, but I mean, I will say he's looked really good. I'm impressed with Carter Bear. So keep an eye out for him.
Love it. We'll go through our top 10 here again for the audio listeners. So first overall, we have James Hagans. Second overall, we have Matthew Schaefer. Third overall, we have Michael Misa. Fourth overall, we have Porter Martone. Fifth overall, we have Victor Eklund. Sixth overall, we have Roger McQueen. Seventh overall, we have Anton Frondel. Eighth overall, we have Ivan Ryabkin. Ninth overall, we have Caleb Denoyer. And 10th overall, we have Jackson Smith going to the Utah Hockey Club. All right, Carter, before we wrap up this episode, I want to do our power rankings for this past week. Again, our power rankings are based off of mostly this past week of NHL games that have been played, as well as that, too, we do factor in their last 10 games, and as well as that, too, the NHL standings do come into play as well. So I'll give it to you, Carter, for number 1. I feel like number 1 should be very clear who it is, but who do you have?
Okay, well, now that you say that, it kind of scares me. I'm giving a team that has been very hot in the last month, I will say. Give me the Montreal Canadiens. Oh my goodness, has this team been very exciting to watch, and they have been playing some very, very freaking good hockey. Oh my goodness. They have been so exciting to watch. Lane Hudson looking unbelievable. Cole Caulfield could end up, he's looking like he's going to pop 40. Could get hot, could pop 50. Who knows? But they have been such a fun team to watch. They took down Tampa. They took down New York. They did get absolutely pounded by Toronto, which does suck. But then you look, they beat Dallas. They beat Utah. They lost in a shootout to Dallas again. And then they beat Washington on the road in overtime. They have been such a fun team to watch. Honestly, since Patrick Laine's return, he's really helped turn that team around as well. But they have just been so fun to watch as of late. So I'm very, very happy for them.
I do agree. The Canadiens have been a lot of fun to see. They really are making what has been an insane Eastern Conference race really competitive. My number 2, and I thought it was going to be your number 1, was actually the Washington Capitals. 5-game winning streak. They are 7-0-3 in their last 10. Again, they haven't lost the regulation in their last 10 games, which is actually wild. They are on a wild point streak. They're just playing simply insane right now. They look absolutely incredible with that roster. So, yeah, I think that the Capitals are a good number 2 there for sure. Carter, who are you going with at number 3, though?
At number 3, I am going to go with the team that is riding a 6-game point streak since the return of their player that they have traded. Give me the Philadelphia Flyers at 3. Since the Cutter Gauthier return, this team has looked very, very fucking good.
For the first time ever, the Flyers are on our power rankings.
For the first time ever, they are in our power rankings. So
goddamn revelation.
It's crazy. They got absolutely blown out by Dallas 4-1. Not a very good game at home. Then Cutter Gauthier comes to town, and I think that this turned the entire week around. It's turned it all around. Pound them 6-0. A comeback victory over the defending Stanley Cup champions 4-3. You lose in a shootout to Columbus. One you should have won. That's okay. Beat the Islanders by 2. Beat the Devils by 2. And then a Detroit game that was just kind of messy all around. You win that one 2-1. So like they've been close, but they've won the games that they've had to win. And they especially won the one that they needed to win, and that was the Cutter Gauthier game. So yeah, they've looked really good as of late.
Well, I was at that Detroit game, so I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. I think that was a very well played game by both teams. But Philadelphia ended up getting the edge in overtime, an incredible game, and the Flyers just continue on rolling. Again, they are on a 6-game point streak. They have looked awesome, so got to give a lot of credit to them for sure. My number 4 is going to go to the New York Rangers, who might be back. Again, we talked about it earlier in the pod. Like, they might be back from what we thought was a big slump. They have really started to turn things around. 6-1-3 in their last 10. Again, I mentioned the Shesterkin, how he's been. But for New York, they have really picked it up, and they are only 2 points back of a wild card spot now, along with 25 other teams, it feels like, in the NHL standings. So again, I feel like the Rangers, it might be a little bit of a climb before we see them get into a spot, but I really like how they have been playing, at least as of late, under Igor Shesterkin and all that. So, Carter, who's number 5 on this list for you?
Number 5 on this list is a team who has absolutely almost looks like it's turned their season around as of late. You might know where I'm going with this. The Nashville Predators have not lost in their last 4 games. Their goal differential is 21-12. They had an absolute crazy comeback over the San Jose Sharks. So I am impressed with the Nashville Predators. I think that it's time that we put them on this list because, it's been bad for them. Let's be honest.
I was going to go with Nashville a little bit lower on this list because I didn't know if you were going to put them on, but I like that. Again, Nashville last night, insane comeback.
Ridiculous.
So, again, it is the San Jose Sharks, but it still is a pretty wild comeback. Their first time they've ever done that, actually, in their franchise history, which is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I love how Nashville's played. Hopefully, this is the start of a real turnaround. But again, they really need to go on like a 16-game point streak again if they want to get back into the race.
Yeah.
They need to go. They need to have another U2 concert canceled, which I'm sure is what they've been hearing all season. Number 6, I'm going to go a pretty simple team here. The Carolina Hurricanes. They've won 3 in a row. They are 6-3-1 in their last 10. They look a little bit sketchy though outside of that 3-game winning streak, but I still think they are deserving of being in the top 8 for sure. Number 7, Carter, your last pick. Who you going with here?
This one's a tough one because, they looked good, but then they've also looked very bad. But they have strung off some pretty good wins as of late here, taking down the Devils in overtime. The Canadiens manhandled them, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning defeating them as well. Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they've been starting to get back to a little bit better performances here. So, put me down for the Toronto Maple Leafs here.
Okay, and then my last pick, Carter, I'm balancing between 2 teams here. I want to ask, I'm going to ask you your opinion because I want to figure this one out, the 2 of us together.
No.
The Columbus Blue Jackets or the Ottawa Senators?
Great question, Nordic. Now,
I think we should roll
if I was a gambling man, I don't know.
Because the Sens have had some pretty impressive wins in their last 10 games, but the Jackets are coming off of a 6-game point streak. So who do you think would I might?
This is your pick. This is your pick, but I like both of them. You can go with whatever you like.
I'm gonna go with Blue Jackets. They probably honestly should be higher on this list if we're being honest, because they have been rolling. But I like that top 8. Number 1, Montreal Canadiens. Number 2, Washington Capitals. Number 3, Philadelphia Flyers. Number 4, New York Rangers. Number 5, Nashville Predators. Number 6, Carolina Hurricanes. Number 7, Toronto Maple Leafs. And number 8, the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that is our top 8 teams in the NHL right now. And that will conclude episode number 88 of the NordCast. Carter, any final thoughts?
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Yeah, we haven't talked that much about the NFL. with what's going on there.
That's okay. I'm too scared.
I'll actually ask you this though: how do you feel about how the Lions lost in the game against the Commanders?
I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared too. Actually, seeing them beat Detroit, which I thought was a team that was going to go far. I was like, I don't like that.
It's okay though. I'm not worried. I'm worried.
I do want to say next week we are hoping to have a very special interview with another player. Hopefully next week, if not the following week. I've been communicating with him the last couple of weeks. It is not a big name player. It is an ECHL player, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty big jump for the podcast. We don't really get to interview the players that often, so maybe this is really the start of something. But anyways, that'll do it for us. I'll talk more about it in the next episode, maybe. But thank you guys for watching or listening, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening to yet again another episode of the NordCast. If you enjoyed, please subscribe down below or follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to follow us on TikTok, we are at NordCast. If you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, follow at NordCast_. That'll do it for this episode. I'm Nordic. Thanks for listening from all the crew, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.